this week, some of our good friends asked us to go camping this weekend. So I've made a list of some of the things we might need. Number one, new friends.
Good afternoon.
Wow, that's a big head.
What?
Where is everybody?
A big bad broadcast, and we're happy to say that we've emptied the bench and we're on our own, and we don't have something on our back anymore like a wart.
Right.
And we are here today, but as you can see, we're missing a few people.
Yeah,
Ann is on the road doing her little comedy skit. And Joe Silky, who is a graphic artist now, says every camp that was closed for the last 2 years needs T-shirts and he's a graphic artist. So
without Joe here, maybe I'll finally get a couple of words in edgewise. God, that guy's always talking.
He never shuts up. He's actually here in the studio doing the mannequin.
He's still screening behind you. He's just going away at it.
He really made me laugh last week with pounding bullets with a hammer.
Oh, man.
And being the mannequin. I mean, I thought that was so funny. It was like,
does this mean we're not getting our backpacks?
Yeah. No backpack for you. It's
no
like
backpack for anybody.
The backpack Nazis. No backpack for you. Hey, I love the beginning of the show with that. We need new friends as far as going camping. I have never been a big camping person. To me, camping is going to a hotel without room service. I mean, I am not a camp person. I could care less about camping.
Oh, man, I love it. I haven't done it in years, but I love camping, man. Are you kidding?
I hate it.
It depends now. If there's types of camping. There's, alone in the woods camping. There's campsite camping. I know people that take their RVs which I hear in California, it's great. You park your RV in a spot. It's in the middle of the national forest. It's like all trees, and you get a little camp, and they provide like a bench and a barbecue. Depends on what type of camping you're talking about.
Well, when you're in an RV, that's like staying in nice and some like.
Yeah, no. To me, that's not camping. I'm talking about where you bring a tent, a sleeping bag, you make a fire.
Let me ask a question. Would you guys consider camping if you had electricity and internet?
No, that's not
I'm not doing it. No.
The whole idea of camping is to get away from.
Okay, so this is my only camping experience, right? I went camping upstate New York, found this place. It was one of these minimal campgrounds. They give you a little campground and they give you a little place for a barbecue grill, but that's it, Yeah. And it was down near the stream, and it was like got there and it looked really nice. Put the tent up, which in those days the tent took like 2.5 hours to put up. It was like the worst. It was like the worst thing. It was the worst experience in the world. And then you make one stake tight, and the other one pops out of the ground.
Tents by IKEA.
And no instructions on how to do this. Somebody lent me their tent. They should have came with me to set it up. Then I set everything up, finally got my little bag of charcoal and put it near the grill and got all set and decided I'm going to take a little dip in the stream. The dip in the stream, the water was like 28 degrees. I mean, I went in and I got like one of those headaches from eating like a Slurpee too fast.
You got a headache because your nut shot up into your head.
Which is horrible. So we get all set up, right? And we had little mats that you put under your sleeping bag. It got all done. I was with my ex-wife, and we were like dating at the time. We were like, hey, this is pretty cool. It started to rain that night. And I just laid in the tent, and I watched the drips come through the tent like a Chinese water torture. Then the next thing I knew, water was running under the tent because we were on a slight incline. And then the stream started coming up into the tent. So we had
never seen Bear Grylls.
We had to sleep, the two of us, in a Volkswagen Rabbit.
So I hope all that water didn't damage your microwave.
And then in that next morning, we had to just roll everything up and put it in the car. And when we got home, because we had to borrow the stuff. We had to clean the mud off the tent. And it was just like, I was like, never again. I'm not doing this.
I love it, man. Last time I went camping, I freaking was great. Went and shot a deer, you know. Just, I mean, not for anything. We didn't eat it or nothing. I just shot it for the hell of it. But
Why not? Let's kill a deer.
You did
hey,
not.
there's a deer. No, of course I didn't, man. I could not. I'm not an animal killer. Tell you the truth.
Know.
If I had to kill my
you
own,
have this persona like you're this big tough guy.
if I had to kill my own food, I'd be a vegetarian. I'd starve to death because I couldn't bring myself to kill an animal. People, that's a different story. I don't know, but animals.
People have it coming. That's
right.
the thing.
But you watch that show Alone?
What?
Is that the one where they don't even know when the other people have tagged out?
Right. It's like 100 days. Whoever lasts the longest. It starts with, I don't know, 10 whatever people. There's a new season on now. I've caught a few of them. I love it. It's actually great because I mean, all they do is they bring like 10 items. They'll bring like a bow and arrow, and these people are alone. There is nobody there to.
Yeah, it's not like Naked and Afraid.
Oh, that show is like, please.
I know we got to talk about that.
Why do you got to be naked? First of all, I mean, it's like.
It depends on who it is. It depends on who it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if I was there with a woman and she was naked, I would be too distracted to survive.
No. Larry Zonka, yes. Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell, no.
No, I'd be like, you ever heard of the monkey, like the medical thing where they give them the button that gives them a shot of like drugs and they feel good,
right.
and they sit there and they just do this
morphine pump.
Yeah, morphine. That would be me. I would be so distracted with a naked woman in the woods that it's like I would die.
Well, let me tell you something. Let's go back to the show that you're talking about because that's a real Alone show. All they give them is like I think like a GoPro. They give them a GoPro, right?
Yeah, like camera equipment.
Yeah, GoPro. I mean, it's nothing camera equipment.
I guess it's a GoPro. Yeah, I guess.
And basically,
which could be one of our sponsors, GoPro. Hey, we could talk about that.
That's right, GoPro.
Right.
Take it anywhere. You can take it surfing.
That's right. They want surfing, whatever you like. Camping, you can take your GoPro with you.
You can take it while jumping off a mountain in one of those flying suits.
Taking a motorcycle
we've all done.
When you're cruising, you can take it. Cruising.
Motorcycle ride. There you go. Anyway,
you can hook it to the side of your car. And you know, the best part is if you put it in a backpack, it doesn't get sandy.
It gets sandy.
Oh, we don't have those backpacks. I forgot.
No.
Anyway, wait. So back to your show. The craziest part about that show you're talking about Alone is I only saw like 3 of them once. That as the people tag out, you don't even know whether you're the last guy. And you may want to tag out. You go, is there anybody left? You know, and you don't know, you know. Yeah. It's not like there's a big goodbye like on Naked and Afraid.
See, that would make it easier. See, if you knew, okay, there's only 2 people left. There's only one.
Right.
You'd hang on, but you don't know. You don't know until they come and get you and say you're the last one. You know?
Right.
So,
and sometimes it could be like a year and a half.
I don't think it's ever.
I'm kidding. Like a year and a half. Oh shit, we forgot you.
I'll tell you the truth. If I was in a little better shape, if my knees weren't so messed up, I would love to try that, man. These guys all lose 30, 40 pounds. To me, that's like a workout program, exercise. Go in the woods. If you don't get eaten by a bear, you come back 30, 40 pounds lighter. You know, it's nice.
And if you get eaten by a bear, you come back even lighter.
That's scary. Imagine that you fucking end up
with lost a lot of weight. That bear ate his head.
I was watching on TikTok. They have this family, this man and wife and 2 kids are walking in the woods, and a bear starts following them. And it's getting closer, and they're like, don't run. And she's like, hey, bear.
Yeah.
Hey, bear. She's doing that I'm like, why are you calling the bear?
It breaks their concentration. If they're focused on attacking, you break their concentration.
Okay, this is a true story. I was in Alaska, and I was going to the Raptor Rehabilitation Center.
Raptor?
Yeah, which is like Park? Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be like. But it's basically like bald eagles that have been hit by cars and stuff.
What? And that's not a very smart bald eagle. I got wings, I can fly. What am I doing on the road?
Why are they hitchhiking?
Sometimes they're eating their salmon and the car comes around the corner and hits them. Anyway, so they have this big casing. So in order to get there, I took the woods, right? It says you can go there. It was only like a mile and a half. So I go through this woods, right? Now, I'm a Long Island guy. I've never seen woods like this in my life. It was good for about the first 400 or 500 yards. and then it got dark. I mean, it was like in the afternoon, and it was dark. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, and then and that there's animals in Alaska.
Fanghorn Forest.
This is the God's honest truth. I get in the middle, and there's a sign, but it's in like Russian or something, and I can't read it. So I go along a bit further, and there's a sign that says, and I have a picture of this somewhere. I wish I could have found it before the show, but I didn't know we were going this way. It says, "Warning: these trails inhabited by extremely aggressive grizzly bears."
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm thinking, you think you could have put the sign in the beginning of the trail, not halfway through? Now I'm like, do I go forward? Do I go back? I'm going to get eaten either way.
No, the
grizzly Richard Lewis.
The grizzly bears take down those signs.
I mean, it was.
I would love to go on a trail like that and put up signs and just say, like, this is the point of no return. So, like, just scare people.
Just leave body parts.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that show on? Have you ever seen that show on Netflix called Grizzly Man?
No, wasn't he killed and eaten by a grizzly?
Yes, this guy decided that he was going to study the grizzly bears.
Yeah,
and he was on this like part of Alaska on this like little island with all these grizzly bears,
like Kodiak Island.
And he would talk. He would talk to them and all this stuff, and then he would send these videos back. He was making a documentary.
He talked to Dr. Dumb.
Saying, look, they know me. I'm their friend now, and all this stuff, And his wife was with him, his girlfriend, I think it was. And look, they know us. We're part of their bear family.
Look,
right
I'm going to rub salt and stuff all over me and butter. It won't bother them at all.
And this guy, he was insane. I mean, he really thought the bears talked to him and stuff. And then all of a sudden there was silence. And they came back, and all they found were his and part of his girlfriend's remains. And they killed the big bear that he was friends with, and they were both inside.
Oh,
why kill the bear? I mean, listen, onto the bear. I mean, what's the bear supposed to do? That's what bears do.
Exactly. That's
just
the
because
point.
You're insane and you think this bear is
that's
my buddy.
The point. That's the total
point.
But
it's a shame that they had to kill the bear. He was just doing what the hell bears do.
They said that if it's a black bear, you have a shot. A brown bear, you have a shot. If it's a grizzly, you're dead. That's
when you pull into Alaska, when you pull into any airport in Alaska, they always have a case with like a stuffed grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Their paws are like the size of a record album.
Yeah. But
they got nails on them like this.
Yeah.
And they're like 7 feet tall.
It's taller than that. I think they go up to like 10 feet. And Craig, what you said is not quite right. The truth is, I think the only bear that actually actively would hunt man is a polar bear. Grizzlies will, I mean, if they don't want to be bothered, they'll skirt around you. They won't mess with you.
No, what they mean is, I know that. But what I'm saying is, if you encounter a brown or a black bear, the odds of you getting away are fairly good. But if you encounter or piss off or get a hungry grizzly, or if you get entangled with one, you're done.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way you can survive a grizzly attack.
Yeah, no, they're incredibly strong and powerful. I mean, like John said, with the claws and the teeth,
think about the name Grizzly. That's it. That tells you everything.
So I just did a little research. So the average grizzly bear is between 440 and 600 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot of grizzly bears.
And they, as a baby, they're 3.3 feet tall, and they grow to over 6.5 feet tall.
That's it. For some reason now, maybe I'm thinking polar bears. I thought they were bigger than that.
They can slam dunk.
Imagine though, I don't care, 600-pound bear coming at you. I don't care how tall he is. I'm not going to stop and go, hey, how tall are you?
I'm getting excited now.
Yeah, I've seen 600-pound bears, but they're all at
bear coming at him.
All right.
Just wants to snuggle.
Yeah, they're all at Denny's though.
Yogi. What kind of bear was Yogi?
Yogi? He was your average bear.
Oh wait, Mike. I think you're right. The largest recorded wild. Oh my God. Wild Wade, ready for this?
Go ahead.
1,656 pounds.
No way.
And he was 9 foot 8 inches.
Wow.
Wow.
Can you just imagine? I mean,
no, you're dead.
I mean, when I look, remember when we had Clint on the show, and Clint worked with that bear.
Wait, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you. He was almost 5 feet tall on all fours.
On all fours. When he stood up, he was 9.5
feet when he stood up.
Yeah. what an awesome sight. And like I said, when we talked to Clint Howard that day, to me, I would never, I don't care, I don't care how tame the gentle bet. You couldn't pay me to work with a bear, even no matter how well you're telling me he's trained, because that's the news story the next day. Yeah, they told him how great the bear was trained, how gentle he was, but it didn't stop the bear from eating his face.
Exactly. They're wild animals. Why don't people understand? They're called wild animals because they're wild animals.
That's it. Well, the mistake people make is like, now there are people who collect snakes and all kinds of reptiles, and they believe that the snakes have feelings and emotions. And what it is, it's this thing where you see your own emotions reflected in the animal. It's not that they have emotions, but you see your own reflected. It's this whole, you can read about it. And that's why they think like, no, the bear, the snake, it likes me, it's my friend. No, you're seeing your own emotions reflected in the snake. It'll still bite you, and
there's another woman on TikTok. I don't know her name, but apparently she works at some kind of preserve for big cats. Mm-hmm. And she's always going up to tigers and lions, like, "Oh, how you doing?" And she's like, "No, just tigers and lions." And she's like, "Boop, boop, boop. How you doing, baby?" And it's like, rah, 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 rah. And she's like a zookeeper or something, and she's petting it and hanging out with it like it's a house cat. And I'm thinking, you get that tiger or that lion on the wrong day, and you're lunch, man.
Exactly. Well, you know what the mistake they make is they think because maybe they raised it since it was a cub, so they think they know it and it's gentle and it's this and it's that. And yes, maybe it is, but you're right. Maybe it licks you and it tastes salt, or it tastes your lunch that you just something, and it triggers. It's an automatic response, and it can kill you in a few seconds.
Oh man, it's a cat, a big like a tiger.
They smart. They go right for the jugular.
It's a little public service. The name of the movie is, I just looked up, Grizzly Man, and it's on Netflix.
Grizzly Man,
Netflix, which could also be another sponsor.
It says
Netflix.
Renowned notification director chronicles the tragic and untimely death of an outdoorman, Timothy Treadwell, who devoted his life to studying grizzly bears. Living in Alaska wilderness, only be brutally mauled and eaten.
Why don't they just say the moronic end?
Yeah,
not tragic, it's moronic.
It should say tragic, but yet funny
story. Let me tell you something. When you watch this movie, they try to have all this empathy for this guy.
Right.
And the entire time I'm watching it, I'm going, you're a dumbass.
Well, because he's going to get mauled.
No, I didn't know it at first. When I first came on, I didn't know.
He didn't just get mauled. He got
eaten.
Got digested.
Listen, on the Bears' behalf, I just like to say, but he was delicious.
He was delicious. Yes. That Axe body spray is quite good.
They do say though, and I think I've said this before, but I don't know if I've ever said it on the show, that more people are killed in Alaska by falling salmon.
Falling salmon?
I'm sorry, but I can't believe that. I think that is
falling salmon.
Birds dropping
American
salmon.
Eagles grabbed salmon and they lift them up, and then they can't hold on to them, and they drop them and they kill people.
I'm sorry, but
I'm looking it up. I'm telling you, they talk about it all the time in Alaska.
It's raining salmon here. Jeez.
It's raining salmon. Hallelujah. It's raining salmon. Now I know in Maine, people die from falling deer.
And where did the deer fall from?
I just read this story that this guy was riding his motorcycle.
Falling deer was an Indian, and he killed people. No.
Falling deer was on. He was on F Troop. Falling deer.
Yeah, falling deer.
No, he's riding his motorcycle through Maine, and this deer either jumped or fell off a mountain and hit him on the motorcycle and killed him. So I'm thinking, and you have to have exact timing for that to happen.
Depressed, suicidal deer in Maine.
Why don't we have somebody that does this? People
does what?
Die.
You mean a fact finder?
Yeah.
Maybe we can contact our friends at the Empty the Bowel Network. That got no reaction whatsoever, even though I stole your line, Mike.
We're speechless.
No, you know why? It's like I'm not even giving them the dignity to mention the
I didn't. That's why I fucked it up. And now we have a low on our show as John.
What I even forgot what John's always trying to see if it's real that people die from falling salmon.
I'm impressed he doesn't have to use glasses to use his phone. That's pretty impressive.
Falling salmon from the sky.
Falling
Makes
salmon.
me feel happy if I don't die.
So is it? Are they accidentally dropping the salmon, or are these eagles just pissed off?
They
Yeah,
could be
call me
pissed off.
I
bald.
don't know. I
There you
can't find
go.
it. Apparently, this is what they say in Alaska. I mean, and I've seen the salmon run in Alaska,
But you can't find
but
any
you can
facts on
actually
it.
walk across the stream and probably never touch water, just step on salmon. That's how many go by. You
Well,
can't
that's
even see the
when
bottom.
yes, when they're breeding, when they're
Right.
you know.
And so that's the prime time for these bald eagles to come down, and they swoop them up. And they're not little, man. They're like 10 pounds, 15 pounds.
I don't like salmon for a couple of reasons. One, they take all the fun out of sex. They do. It's like, oh, I laid my eggs in that hole. Go fertilize it over there. Just leave me alone. There's no sex going on. The woman.
What's amazing
That's a lot.
about a
That's a
salmon,
lot of animals.
What's
Yeah.
amazing about a salmon, they only do that once, and they travel thousands of miles to get back.
And then
to
they
where
die,
were
right?
born.
You
And
think
they
that's
die.
not fun? I don't know if this is true, but I heard an octopus rips its penis off and throws it at the female. You want to talk about sex not being fun? Yeah, catch, have a few kids.
Here, catch, have a few kids.
Well, wait, look, in Alaska, I sound like the authority on Alaska now, but in Alaska, they have game wardens that watch the water because they're really stressed salmon because they can't get upstream because it's so crowded. It's like the LIE at
You
5
got to grow
o'clock
some
on a
weed for the
Friday.
man. Hey, you salmon
They-
are stressed, man.
They start
Come
turning
here,
red.
man. Turn on some salmon.
And
Man.
Their
You're way too stressed.
their whole body turns red.
Yes,
And
I've
these
seen
guys
that.
pick them up and carry them upstream.
And pet them and sing them a little
So
song.
yeah, sing them.
Can you eat them if they're all after they're all battered up, or when do you have to? When's
So you got to eat them before they right after they
before
mate.
they start
They start rotting from the inside. They start dying and rotting. You got to eat them
Yeah.
before that point.
Ew, that's gross. I would
And
drop
you
that.
you really need to get killed by one that's a little more fresh.
Maybe that's why the birds. Maybe that's why the birds drop the salmon, because they're all rotten. Oh, this
It's
one's
like
rotten.
an insult. It's an insult to get hit by a rotting salmon. You know.
Rotting salmon. That'd be
Even sounds bad. Did you hear about Bob got hit with a rotten salmon? Killed him
Yeah.
instantly.
How do you tell? What do you do when you go up to St. Peter's? Like, name. How'd you die? I got hit with a salmon. Really? All right, hit with a salmon.
St. Peter goes, okay, yeah, go over to the schmuck section over there. You
You got to be really unlucky.
Go
You have to be super,
Go sit
really.
with Grizzly, man.
But how unlucky do you have to be to get hit with a salmon?
Go sit with Grizzly, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear a story about the most unlucky woman in the world? I can tell you, it's really quick, and it involves Thanksgiving in New York.
It's already
was a woman.
It's already been longer than I wanted.
Now
but go
stop.
ahead.
No, there was a woman who was watching the 1997 parade. The Cat in the Hat balloon hit a light pole. The light fell, hit her, put her in a coma for 6 months. Right? And they changed everything in the parade. The balloons had to get smaller, all that stuff, whatever. She recovers, wins just tons of money. I don't know how much. 200 million. She won all this money, right? And so what she does as she's recovered is she buys an exclusive condo on the Upper East Side, one of these new brand towers, right? And then on October 11th, 2002, Corey Lytle, the Yankees pitcher, is flying his plane, has some kind of attack, and crashes his plane into a building. It was her apartment. Her friggin' apartment.
Yeah,
and you know what? She better not walk in Alaska. She's going to get hit with a fucking salmon. You know that, right?
No, that was that was a hit job. Are you kidding? That's
A hit job.
The Cat in the Hat put a friggin' contract out on her. You thought you suing me? I'm a
Let's
balloon.
go back to the story. Did she die or live?
No, she wasn't in the apartment when it hit. She just got home one day and there's an airplane in her living room. Like, oh shit!
Oh, is that where I left that?
You sue Dr. Seuss. You get a fucking airplane in your fucking apartment. All right.
That's how I left that.
Did she wake up after the 6 month and go, ta-da?
Ta-da! Oh boy!
Only comedians know that joke. It's the funniest. Mike, you got to tell the joke because people listening don't know that joke.
What joke is that? Oh, maybe you know what? You'd be better.
All right, here's the joke. So this guy calls up the Guinness Book of World Record and goes, I have got the greatest stunt in the world. And he goes, what is it? He goes, nobody has done this. He goes, what is it? He goes, you got to come and see. So the guy comes and he says, here's the story. I'm going to put my head on an anvil and you're going to hit me as hard as you can with a sledgehammer. and nothing's going to happen. The guy goes, are you sure? And he goes, I promise, I've done this. Nothing's going to happen. Puts his head on the anvil. The guy hits him in the head with a sledgehammer. His eyeballs pop out of his head. His skull cracks. He goes into a coma. They rush him to the hospital. The guy feels so bad. He sits next to him for like months.
Like 6 months.
Sits next to him for 6 months, and he's just waiting and says, I feel so guilty. And all of a sudden he looks and he sees the guy's hand do this one day. He goes, oh my God, I think he's coming around. His other hand goes like this. And the guy sits up and goes, ta-da!
I have never heard that.
Really?
That was the long version of it, but yeah, that was.
I thought you were going to do the Aristocrats for a second.
No, that's funny joke, man.
Oh, that's too dirty to do on here. Although, Wendy, if you watch the movie The Aristocrat, Wendy Liebman is the only one who did a clean version, and I think it was one of the funniest versions of that joke in the movie.
Do you know the origin of that joke?
No.
Okay, so the origin of the joke was Buddy Hackett was on The Tonight Show. And Johnny said, what do you want to talk about after the break? And he goes, I'm going to talk about the Aristocrats. And he tells him this disgusting joke during the commercial. And it went on for the whole double commercial. And they come back, and Johnny's laughing so hard he can't even talk. And he goes, I don't think we need to talk about the Aristocrats. So every single guy from that genre of comedians came on. And they would say, so what do you want to talk about, Johnny? And he goes, well, after the break, let's talk about the Aristocrats. And Johnny would just lose it. He would just lose it. And for the people, we're not going to get to the joke, but it's the most disgusting joke in the whole world. And at the end, the punchline is, we're the Aristocrats.
If you're watching the show and you want to know, just Google the joke, the Aristocrats.
Yeah. Right. I always like how Drew Carey finished it. He always went, Aristocrats, like that.
Well, the funniest thing was the last time Dangerfield was on The Tonight Show, and Rodney goes, what have you been doing? I goes, hey, Johnny, let me tell you something.
Oh, I'll tell you,
I ran into the Aristocrats manager. And Johnny just starts laughing. He goes, you're not kidding. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, he told me that 20 years he's been trying to get them booked. And he finally got him a job, a good paying job. And he called up the son and said, hey, I got you a job. And the son said, I'm sorry, but Dad has left show business. Which nobody would think it's funny. And Johnny was laughing so hard he couldn't breathe.
Well, he did have emphysema.
Oh man,
I don't know why he said that.
Now see. To me, that was my dream. You talk about the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. My dream was to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, get impaneled, and sit there and joke with Johnny. And Johnny retired before I ever got that shot. But that was my original dream. All I ever wanted out of stand-up and show business was to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
So I went to the Tonight Show with Robert Klein once, and name drop. And I went with Rory because we were doing.
I went with Robert Klein. I mean, I drove him there. I went with
Rory.
I wore Calvin Klein once.
So I went there, and we walked in, and Johnny drove a Corvette, and it was parked in his spot. So we get there, and we're walking around the set, and the woman says, why don't you sit at Johnny's desk? And I go, no way. And she goes, just sit in his desk, sit where he sits. And I go, no. And she goes, well, sit in the guest chair. And I go, no. And she goes, are you a comedian or something? And I go, yeah. And she goes, so funny because anytime I tell any comedian that comes with another comedian, sit there or sit there, they go, no. Unless I get on the show, I can't sit there.
Yeah.
But behind his desk, he had rubber chickens, chattering teeth. He had like every like gimmick thing in the world. And but I don't know if you guys know this, but the way the show started off was Doc Severinsen came out and just did a kick-ass song. And then Ed McMahon came out and literally did 15 minutes of dick jokes. And then all of a sudden, they make the announcement. They go, like the crowd would just go crazy when Johnny comes on.
Yeah, right.
And they would just go like this. They go, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the guy who's an up-and-coming comedian. And they make it sound like you're going to see a guest host. Like, they go, yeah, he's coming out. This guy's an up-and-coming star in comedy. I'm glad you see people in the audience going, and we were doing it. We already saw his Corvette. Like, holy shit, I thought Johnny was going to be here.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
they
all of a
changed those
sudden,
things
and
up.
then all of a sudden you go, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny, and the place would just go crazy.
Because I mean, I've been to a taping of the Tonight Show with Jay, because when I lived down, whatever, when I had family come in, and the one thing they want to do, they want to see a taping of the Tonight Show. So I'd get tickets, and I've done 2 or 3 tapings, and which was cool because it's like you get to see, but they change it up. I mean, sometimes, a lot of times, the star themselves, Jay or whoever, will come and warm up the crowd, or they have a comedian. And Jay had a comedian, but I wasn't crazy. They were so cheap. They give out gifts. They try to get you all involved, like give out T-shirts and this and that. And this guy was like cheap. I'm like, this is the Tonight Show. You got money. Fucking throw everyone a shirt.
I went to see Conan O'Brien when he started a lot in '92.
I did the first season. I did an episode of the.
I went to see it, and what was interesting, they had no budget whatsoever on that show, and the warm up was Conan. Conan would come out with his guitar dressed like Elvis, and he'd be doing Elvis songs in the audience. Yeah. And he was great. It was hilarious.
I did 2 sketches the first season of Conan. You remember? Well, Louis C.K. was one of his head writers, so Louis wrote a couple sketches, called me up, said, "Mike, can you come down?" And friggin', I remember I went down to the Ed Sullivan Theater. I guess it was right. Yeah, it was in the Ed Sullivan Theater in New York.
Ed Sullivan Theater, that'd be Letterman.
No, but where did Conan taped in New York?
30 Rock.
At 30 Rock.
Yeah.
And I went down there and did some funny sketches, man. Whatever. But
you know what's weird, and I don't know if Jay did this, but when Johnny did his monologue, Ed McMahon was standing like shoulder away from him, like arm's length away. They formed like a semicircle around them, and they weren't picked up on camera. But you'd always go, you know what I mean, Ed? Like he'd be looking over his shoulder. Well, Ed was standing right there, and he just would make those guys laugh hard, and that's what he used as his timing. And like he had Doc Severinsen on one side, he had Tommy Newson behind it. It was like all these guys just standing next to him, like he was standing on the street corner.
So
Doc Severinsen is still alive.
John, didn't you do the Tonight Show?
No.
Really? I mean,
Never.
You did every friggin' TV show.
I know, but it's funny because it was very funny because
he didn't like magicians, did he?
Yeah. Who was it? Brolin? What was his name?
Fred.
The guy who booked it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Brogan.
Jimmy Brogan.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Brogan came to see me at Comic Strip Live, and I really had a killer spot. And Rory said, "See, there's no reason why you shouldn't be on the Tonight Show." And Jimmy Brogan said, "Hey, I am totally familiar with John." He goes, "I watched him for years. He kills on every TV show." He said, "The problem is that Johnny doesn't really like comedy magic. He thinks magic is sacred and doesn't like when people mess with it." And he goes, "And I just don't,
He must have loved Penn and Teller.
Hated them. They were never on."
Yeah,
but
no.
He had Lance Burton on.
Well, here's a question:
times in 2 years
as a magic magician, because I don't know if people know it or not, but John is an incredible magician. Comedy, yes, but you are an incredible magician. Did you ever resent Penn and Teller for exposing a lot of magical secrets? Because that's what they did. They exposed a lot of things.
I don't know if they really did expose magic. Like the big thing that everyone accused them of exposing was they did cups and balls with clear cups, but you still couldn't follow it.
Well, I went to I forget where it was, in Vegas or something, and they showed the trick, and I forgot where it was, where the guy is here and then he appears here in a whole different space. Thing comes down and he's gone. And then they showed, and they lifted the drape, and they showed how he went down, he crawled under, he went up. I mean, so they did expose a lot of stuff.
That just reminds me of Burt Wonderland. when he does the hangman. When he does the hangman by himself. Did you ever see that, Mike?
I saw it so long ago I can't remember.
I love that friggin' movie.
He tiptoes across the stage like you don't see him.
and then this at the end.
And then the funniest line was, what's his name from The Sopranos who passed away?
Gandolfini.
Gandolfini goes like this. That was shit. That was shit. I don't think it was that bad. It was shit.
That movie is so good, man. Wow. The movie is so fun. I watched
Silky growing up. It's me.
It was
That's
called
what my daughter
Burt
was.
Wonderstone, right?
The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Yeah, I saw it. I cannot remember it.
Man, I
That
got
was the one with
roared
that
in
was
it.
the one with Jim Carrey, who plays.
Yeah, who was doing like the I can't think of the guy's name.
You were
David
mine.
Blaine.
You were mind raped.
Oh
Oh,
no,
it
he was
wasn't-
doing
It
yeah.
was-
wasn't
cross
Ben Stiller. I
between
thought it was Ben Stiller.
No,
No?
it was a cross
Oh.
between Chris Angel and David
Chris
Blaine.
Angel.
The
I know when
best
he goes to
line
sleep
is-
in
the
the
best
coals.
line is the best line is he says to the guy, take a card. And the guy takes a card. And he goes, now take the card and return it to the deck. And he goes, shuffle the deck. And he gives the guy, he goes, now find the card. The guy goes, it's not in here. And he takes out one of those knives
Yeah.
and he goes like this, punch me in the face. The guy goes, I'm not punching you in the face. He goes, punch me in the face. He goes, I'm not punching you in the face. He goes, your mother was a whore. The guy punches him in the face. He takes out the knife. He goes, he cuts his cheek open. He reaches in, takes out the bloody card. He goes, is this your card? The guy's like, I'm not touching that. He goes,
And it was signed. It was signed.
it was signed. He goes, you are mind raped. It's really
I like when he went to sleep on the hot coals.
He just lays down on the hot coals. He goes, I am going to train my body so I will
Did
not
you-
feel any pain.
Well, here, did you
And
guys
he
watch
lays
the?
down, he just goes, "Ah!"
No, when he's
Speaking
snoring,
about
he's
old-
like,
Speaking about old movies, they've turned. I watched the Tonys the other day. I don't know if you guys watch the Tony Awards, but they turned one of my favorite movies into a play, which still has Billy Crystal, Mr. Saturday Night. They've turned it into
Yeah.
a play, which, if you know the movie, it's like all about an old stand-up comic who's just a bitter, miserable. It's just an incredible movie.
My daughter
really-
saw it. She said it was great. She said
I want to see the play. Yeah,
the
She
movie
said-
was
no,
like
I
this.
love the movie. It's one of my
Movie's
favorite
great.
movies. Matter of fact, a friend of mine is in it. To played his daughter, Mary Mara. She's a great actress. She
Oh,
played.
I
his
mean, I
daughter in
just
the
thought
movie.
towards the end it kind of lost it, but that's just me. I haven't
Did you
seen
watch
it.
the whole Tony Awards?
I watched most of it. Yeah.
Did you see that guy come out in that pink jacket that had a train on it that was like 10
Oh,
feet long?
the writer director guy. He won an award.
Yeah,
The
for
Jackson.
best
I can't
writer,
remember his
yeah.
name. Something
I gotta tell
Jackson.
you, Mike, you were the last person I would think would watch
To
the
watch
Tony.
the Tonys.
Really, right? Maybe with a gun.
Listen,
You know?
I don't watch. I don't like the Oscars. I don't like the Tonys. I don't like them. But my wife is into all that stuff. She's like, we're in the business. We should watch it. So I sit and watch it. What do you? It's like, what are you gonna do? And the truth is, it's all about business. It's just people patting each other on the back so that they can say, "Hey, I won this award. Come see my," whatever. That's all. It's business.
Yeah.
I know.
I
I
know,
guess.
man.
I couldn't watch the Tonys. I watched about 5 minutes of them, and I was like, "I'm tagging out." And then I would have called, and then I wouldn't realize that you'd be the last guy out watching them.
Well, hey,
And you
and
was.
you should watch them. I mean, your family is into the
I
theater.
know,
Your
I know,
daughter's
but-
your daughter's a playwright. If anyone should be watching the Tonys, it should
I
be
watch the Emmys and I watch the Oscars. That's really all I watch. I don't watch the Tonys. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't.
Well, what I love about the
watch
Oscars is
the SAG
if what people don't know is, and then John knows, and and I know, if you're in the Screen Actors Guild, so when they have the Screen Actor Guild Awards, I get like 20, 30 free movies, and they send them so that we can look at them and then vote on them.
Screeners.
We get the screeners.
And Jann doesn't get them anymore.
You have to pay your dues to.
I
you have to
did
be-
recently.
Yeah, I gotta. My dues are due. My dues are due now.
And
I
if you
don't
go
get-
if you go FICOR, you don't get you don't get the screeners.
Yeah, I don't get them
No.
anymore because I am.
I made that. I made that mistake. I went FICOR before the two unions merged about 25 whatever years ago was, to do this one movie. My agent was like, you can do it, we'll do this FICOR thing, and I didn't know what the hell it was. I just signed because I could do this movie, and I never worked another non-union job ever again. It's like I gave up my union rights basically, which I still have my pension.
You
I
can
had
still
my
work
health
union,
care.
though.
But now, since I'm not FICOR anymore, since the unions merged, you had a whole new thing, and I'm just regular full
And-
union.
And if you go FICOR, which means financial core, by the way, that means that you can work for anybody you want, not just union, but you give up some of your rights. The thing is, getting back to full status, they kind of bust your balls, and they make you pay the dues, the entry fee again.
I got no need to work anything non-union. Truthfully, listen, I don't believe anyone should tell me I can't work a job, but I say if it's a non-union job with the union, make them go union, because because it's like there is a lot of non-union, and look, they don't pay. If you get hurt, on the set, you could be, there's all kinds of stuff that you could really pay a big price for. The union, at least they protect us and they cover us. And the truth is yes, you make a lot of money, but most actors work so seldom. You deserve to make a good living.
My pet peeve when it was just after was like we were on a TV show called Comedy Tonight. Yeah. And they used 5 comics a night, and we were on 5 nights a week. So that was 25 comics a week. So that was a lot of new members because it was a union show. So because there was that many comics, at the time the scale was $7.90. They said, well, you only have to pay $3.45. So
they made a special deal.
Yeah, they had a special deal. But in those special deals, don't you think they should have still had to pay full amount to retirement?
Yes, they should.
They didn't. They didn't.
No. John, you're expecting morals out of people in show business. There's no.
Well, this is a crazy thing. I just got a letter from AFTRA saying, because I do have a
there is no such thing as AFTRA.
SAG-AFTRA. But I got a letter from them saying that since I'm in the I get a little pension from them, saying that their computers were compromised. And that I was one of the people where my social security number, my date of birth, and everything may have been taken.
Wow!
And this is from their retirement thing, and that so they're giving me free monitoring for a year from some company.
Oh yeah, I think you weren't one of the few. I think you were one of the many. I think many people were affected by that.
Did you get the letter? Did you guys get the letter?
Not from them, but I got from another company that I was compromised, and I'm signed up with Kroll now.
Who knows, man? I don't remember. I probably got the letter. I'm lucky I remember, this morning. But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, SAG is the Screen Actors Guild. They covered movies. They when you worked union movies, and AFTRA was mostly TV. That's the difference. People always say, "What's the difference between SAG and AFTRA?" AFTRA covered mostly TV. SAG covered
American Federation of TV and Radio Artists.
And then
they merged together.
And at one time, when I was really active, it was 2 separate things.
Yeah, me too.
If you were in AFTRA, you had to pay again.
Which sucks. Which sucks because I have when I want to collect it, I have a pension from SAG. But during that time, I worked tons of AFTRA jobs, which did not go into my pension. I didn't make enough to make a separate pension from AFTRA, but I made a lot of money, and none of it went into towards my pension and health in SAG. So it's when they merged, they should have. Whatever, but
what was great about AFTRA back in the day, I got several videos put on America's Funniest Home Videos. A lot of them we would just think of a thing, we'd film it, and they'd put it on. And me and Billy Hine did one. It was really, they asked for goofy sports, so we did marshmallow golf. We went over to Salisbury Park, Eisenhower Park, and we're hitting marshmallows around like the.
Tell the truth though, when you were done, you ate the marshmallow.
Oh, we fucking devoured it. But anyway, yeah. So we did that, and I sent it in, and they said we want to air this on the last episode. You're not going to be eligible for any awards, but we'll give you $100, $500. And we went, yeah, great. And they go, and you're an AFTRA, so we're going to pay you scale too. So we got 500 plus I got like 400 for the time, right? And Billy said I should get half of that 400. I'm like, do you pay my dues? He goes, well, no. He wanted half of the money after gave him. I'm like, wait a minute, that's mine.
Yeah, right.
But no, that was pretty cool that they were that was a pretty cool move.
It's so funny back in the olden days. When I first started
when you used to have to wind the TV up.
I used to have to,
I remember that.
When I first started doing TV, in order to get your benefits, you only had to make I think it was $1,500 or $2,000 a year.
Oh man.
And
that'd be great.
Then it went up every year, but I luckily,
don't even know what it is now. What are you going to make? At least 10 or 12,ve to get?
And which is so ridiculous because on TV, you couldn't make that unless you have a series. And if you have a series, then you're getting your benefits anyway.
No, my friend did a guest spot on Cold Case, and he made well over $15,000 in one shot.
Yeah, but we're talking about.
I did an episode of Cold Case.
But we're talking about not that. We're talking about variety acts. Like
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
no
whenever
way.
after and you're talking about, $500-600 at a pop, you're never going to make
Right.
10,000.
Never gonna make that.
You got to work so much.
But I was lucky. I got vested for 6 years in a row where I
Yeah.
made enough from TV. So
I got
you
vested
have to be
11. I got vested 11 years. That's why I got my SAG pension when and if I want to take, not if, but when
Wow, you should be getting a lot of money then.
I have a vest in my closet.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The most I ever made in 1 year was probably like 1,000 ever. So yeah.
Well, that's
Make
less
fun
than
of-
that's less than my day call, believe it or not, which is ancient history now because I don't know
Day
if anyone
call?
even meets. Yeah, when you're a working actor,
Oh, I got you. I know what you mean.
they no, it's like sometimes. Well, see, normally I'd want a guest star credit. So you get a guest star. Guest star used to mean 3 to 5 days. You can be a guest star, top a show, all of that stuff. But if you work 1 day, sometimes they call you co-star. You'd work one to 3 days. You'd get the co-star, but then you'd have to meet my day call, which was scale was only what was it? I don't know, $800-900. But I would get my day call was about $1,700 a day.
I was a day
Wow.
player. That's all I ever was. And so far, I don't know if I ever will be anything more than that, but good for you.
No, that's why. Listen, there's not a week that goes by where I don't get some kind of residual checks and things like that. Which
My friend did an episode of Roseanne in 1989, the Halloween episode. He played one of these guys at a pool table who harassed Roseanne because she was dressed as a guy with a beard.
Yeah.
And they air. You see, Halloween is huge for Roseanne, and in October, they run that episode. On all these different networks.
Yep.
A couple 100 times.
Well, any holiday show is what you want.
Yeah, it's like 30. It's 30 years ago, 32 years ago, and he can make up to $10,000 a year in residuals on it.
Yeah, I've
That's
done a
amazing.
couple Christmas episodes. I did Becker, which what's his name?
Yeah.
Ted Danson. I played Santa in one of the Christmas episodes and called Santa on Ice, where I get to die. I died one of the few times I died on TV, but which was a great episode to hang out with. That was the week Ted Danson got his star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, nice.
Showed up Monday morning for the table read. They have they go through the script, and every executive from the network was there. There was newspaper, right?
No pressure. No pressure.
And I'm just some putz, coming in for my little guest star, first time I've ever been there. And yeah, exactly. No pressure.
No pressure.
That's what people don't understand. What you try going into a room of strangers, like for an audition, you walk into a room of strangers that you've never met before. You've got the script. They know what's going on. You're not sure because they only give you a very limited amount of information. And you have to walk in and perform like that. They put a camera on and they go, okay, slate, and right at cold, you have to be magnificent, and it's like, they talk about it's a tough business and you deserve to get paid well if you do it because
Yeah, I told you what my audition was for Saturday Night Live when I had my one line with Bill Murray.
Mhm.
I walked and I found out later that one of these guys was Robert Smigel. I didn't realize it at the time, but I walked out onto the set, right in front of, and these two guys in sweatshirts go, "Hey, read this," and I go, "Sorry about the shirt. Everything else is in the wash." And I handed it back. Thanks. That was my audition.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You want to hear? You want to hear a great story? This is the God's honest truth. I went down to I had an audition for some show. I forgot. Don't even know the name of the show. Don't know if it ever went. But I'm looking around this building. I forget. I think it was 20th Century Fox or wherever. Or no, it's MGM Studios. And I'm looking around. I'm in this building, and I hear a bunch of people in a room, and I just duck my head and I go, "Hey, I'm looking for blah blah blah." And so they go, "It's down the hall." I go down the hall. I read for that show. And on the way out, they grab me. They go, "Come in here." And they go, "Would you read this?" I read a line for another show. It turned out to be Malcolm and Eddie. And they said, "You had the part the minute you put your head in there and you were like, 'Hey, how you doing?'" And it was for a series regular. I got the part. The show it was going to be I was the liquor distributor because they bought a bar.
Right.
And unfortunately it got cut after an episode or two, but I got a series regular from ducking my head into a room and just going,
Right.
"Hey, can you tell me where the thing is?"
I'll tell you. You talk about the scale on these TV shows. there was a show on, I believe it was Fox, called Sunday Comics.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I did a sweep show. And it was Louis Anderson and Larry Miller and George Wallace and Rita Rudner.
Wow, what a lineup.
And man, I get out there and they go, "You have to close." And I go, "Why am I closed?" And they go, "Well, no one wants to follow a prop act." Right?
You're a magician. It's not a prop act.
So they pull us all this prop crap. So I call up Rory. I'm really upset. I go, "Yeah, they want me to close." And Rory goes, "It's the greatest thing that ever happened to you." He goes, "I'm just going to call clubs and go, hey, have you seen the Sweet Week show with Larry at, with all these people?
Headliner.
You don't know who he is? He closes." You know what I mean?
That's right.
and he goes, "This is great." So it was a Sweet Week show. The scale on the show was $5,000 and one rerun right off the bat. So it was a lot of money. It was like $9,000
for a day's work.
Yeah, for a day's work.
Yeah.
So I do the show. And it's a big show because Rita was great. And it was just a really good show. And everyone, it was all good acts. And so next thing I know, the show's on the Comedy Channel. So I get a letter from AFTRA with a check for 14 reruns.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, holy shit, 14 reruns. I open it up, $7.14.
You got 50 cents a rerun?
I call AFTRA and I go, "What is the deal?" I go, "The scale was $5,000. And it's supposed to be like 80%. And they go, "No, once it gets sold to cable, you get a percentage of the licensing agreement."
Yeah. And that's the difference between network and cable. See, I did an episode of Two Broke Girls, and this was about, I don't know, however many years ago it was. And I still get residuals whenever, they come out like quarterly or whatever. And I still get, hundreds and hundreds of dollars in residuals because it reruns on, network TV. It's like, I did 3 days of work and I probably made $40,000-$50,000 off of it.
Just a reminder, guys, we have about 10 minutes left, just so you know.
Right.
And I also want to share this. Thank you very much. So everybody knows.
Empty the Bowel Network.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Well, it's funny that you talk about those rerun checks because on Comedy Tonight, when the show went off the air, since there was so many shows that they had taped, it immediately went into syndication. And I think there wasn't a month I seemed like I was getting $700 or $800 a month in residual checks. Because it just kept being syndicated. Because I guess you have to have a certain amount of shows to syndicate.
Yeah,
so you have to have like
they call it 100 basically.
Yeah, 100 shows. But since it was on 5 nights a week,
they hit it in no time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Well, I got to get back and get active again. I mean, I let the pandemic kind of like.
Sorry, Rolling Stones.
That's our signal that their time is up. No,
almost.
I let the pandemic, just kind of put a halt, which I guess everyone did. I mean, but now I'm starting to submit. I'm actually. I think I'm going to get a new agent. I mean, whatever.
You should get on the Mayans.
I'm submitting to Actors Access now, again.
Yeah. Actors Access and the casting networks and
I think anybody cares. I think anybody who's watching cares.
No, they're going, who gives
what's Actors Access? Is that a show?
I'm over here stocking a fucking supermarket and these jerk-offs are talking about making thousands of dollars dancing in front of a camera.
Is that like Access Hollywood? I don't know what that is.
All right, so back to cafeteria food.
That's where we're going to go, right?
Hello,
that's what we're supposed to be talking about.
Really. We'll forget about it because it's too late now.
The best cafeteria food ever is the frozen pizza you got. I don't know why we loved it, but that was the best.
Oh man, that was cardboard with
that was the best compared to the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
The undisclosed mystery meat they used to sell.
I don't know, man. I never enjoy. It's like the schools that I went to. I went to private school I went to Catholic school for 8 years, so I don't know. They didn't have like lunch. You got to bring your own.
Oh my
really?
God.
So what they feed you? The blood of lions?
Stuff we find out about Mike.
I went to St. Rita's School for grades 1 through 8, man, in Long Island City, Queens.
So you must have
Ouch.
good penmanship.
Yeah, I got good penmanship.
Right? Isn't
He's
that
got
a
these
big,
scars
Slap
on
your
his
knuckles.
that's
They
a
slap
big
your
thing
knuckles.
in Catholic school, right?
Speaking of The
Penmanship.
Sopranos, they closed the school, and I know they taped a couple episodes of The Sopranos in the school.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
And what was it in The Sopranos?
I don't know. I'd have to watch the episodes and see, but I know that they'd
I know that my school, that especially before I got to junior high school, they had a soda machine. I mean, think about this. They were trying to induce vomiting. No, they really were. They give you that pizza, and all you can drink is milk. Come
Yeah,
on.
it's true.
Well,
Yeah, it's
Pizza
true.
and milk?
Well, if we were from New York, so if you went to public high school, the food was to prepare you to get used to the food in prison, basically. So
It's true.
this way you wouldn't have the big adjustment periods. You wouldn't have freaking bowel issues and shit.
Were the
You'd be
lunch
straight-
lady smoking cigarettes? There's
Yeah.
your food, honey. Get used to it. Get
They
used
all
to
had
it.
those. They all had those hairnets on.
Yeah,
They looked like it
Real
was pretty freaky.
following real safety codes.
You know that?
Yeah.
And how they get square Jello? They always had the square cubes of Jello.
Dude.
How'd they ever do that shit?
Oh
They
my
must have put
God.
it in like a big baking
If they ever
thing,
told
like
you,
for like a sheet cake, and then just cut it with a piece.
That's
of
probably what they did.
if they ever
Exactly
told you
right.
the ingredients of the meatloaf, you'd fucking run screaming.
I don't remember them having meatloaf. I remember
I-
Salisbury steak.
They used
I-
to have barbecued beef, right? And I remember I took some home in a test tube because I wanted to have a test tube. My father was like, "What are you out of your mind?
What'd you have? Barbecued what?
Barbecued
Dog.
beef."
It was dog.
It was like,
Oh,
it was
no.
like barbecued beef. And I actually brought some home in a test tube.
Oh
My
man!
dad worked at a lab. I go, "Could you get this tested?" My dad's like, "What are you, an idiot?"
I could see John with a Bunsen burner over there with his fucking test tube.
I just remember that they used to give you that government American cheese.
Jeez.
Yes, that I mean.
And I remember on the day that they had it, this is how my school was. Everyone goes, "Don't eat the cheese." And then when they would clear your table, everyone would have to push their trays down the table,
Yeah.
drop it on the table, and everyone would run over it with their trays. And by the time it was done, the entire table was just covered with smashed American cheese. We used to think that was so funny.
Are you happy, John? Kids were starving, but you were smashing your American.
Smashing
cheese.
your friggin' another popular one with us was fish sticks. We used to love.
Oh,
the fish
yeah, fish sticks.
Oh yeah.
Love
This
the
You know what
fish
they call fish sticks in England?
No,
Fish
sticks.
Fish fingers.
is-
fish fingers.
Fish fingers. They got some
Yeah,
fish
fish
fingers.
fingers.
I only know that because there was a big article
Oh.
in one of the Daily Mail or one about a woman who left her kid in a stroller and went into the food store and came out, and the baby was gone, but there was a fish finger in the seat, and she was convinced that the baby turned into a fish finger.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know. Fish finger. I never trusted the Gorton's fishermen.
I think they grilled cheese.
I
think
don't
they
know,
grilled-
man, but Mrs. Paul.
This is
He
Paul.
kind of- My fingers.
This is Paul since 1929. I mean, well, if you'd rotate the friggin' stock, maybe you wouldn't have to eat that old shit.
Man, a bitch poisoned me.
Yeah, I don't remember many. I don't remember a lot of the food. I remember pizza, hamburgers. We used to have hot dogs. We used
Hamburgers, hot dogs, which
to have. I don't remember meatloaf, but you guys had meatloaf.
You can imagine the
All kinds of
quality
shit.
of the hot dogs they use.
Armor hot dogs. The
Oh.
kids,
You know that my daughter Lindsay has
fat
never
kids, skinny
You know that my
kids.
daughter
Kids
Lindsay
who climbs
has
on
never-
rocks.
Listen, my daughter Lindsay has never even tasted a hot dog.
Your daughter Lindsay has never tasted a hot dog.
Really? She
Come
has
on,
never
Really?
tasted a hot dog because when she was in kindergarten, they read this story in school about what's in a hot dog.
Hmm.
And my son at one time offered her $20 to take a bite, and she refused. Like
What
when they
about a
were in high
Hebrew
school.
National, man? They have to answer to a
Hot
higher
dogs
authority.
rule.
I know. She
Listen,
is-
most
well,
hot dogs are disgusting. Yes, I've seen the
Take
show,
her to
how it's made, and it's a sort of a meatish thing that they put into a casing.
Meatish.
A meatish. It's not even real meat. It's a meatish thing, But there are high quality hot dogs where they actually use a percentage of meat.
Hebrew National.
My son used to take a bite from her and go, "Oh, that was a good piece. It must have been a nostril." She would like gag.
Hebrew National answers to a higher authority.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I-
Brett,
oh,
The only thing when you
All I
eat a
eat
Hebrew
is the
National,
bread.
you can't use it in a bun because all they have is the matzah and it doesn't wrap around. It's the matzah won't wrap around the hot
yeah,
dog.
it'll crack. It
how
cracks.
come you can't back to hot dogs? How come you can't buy every hot dog now? Hebrew National, Sabret, all the good hot dogs are all skinless now.
No,
No.
I buy
There's one that's not. There's one that's not.
I buy Hoffies, which are the whatever. It's like they're expensive, but they're delicious, and they're in that snappy casing. You gotta have the snap.
The best hot dog out there is
that?
The best hot dog is Boar's Head in natural casing. That is the best hot dog.
Try Hoffies. I'll get the one. It's a Hollywood, whatever. It's better than Boar's Head. But you live down below, so what you could do?
Like Huffy, only with an O, not a U.
Go to see one of our sponsors, hopefully, the Handy Market in Burbank, California. Craig, go to the Handy Market on Magnolia and Buena Vista.
Handy Market?
I live on the coast.
And get some hot dogs, and you will never be the same.
I've never been the same. Hot dogs and me go way back.
Did they ever?
That sounds bad.
Do they deliver to the East Coast?
I'm sure they do. They got that service.
Hoffies on the East Coast.
Goldberry.
I've never heard of Hoffies in my life.
Really? They're on the East Coast. I know they are. They use it at City Field, I think.
And they have one. Not all of them, but there's one that I buy, and it's
HOFFY.
And it's got the snappy skin.
This episode is brought to you by Hot Dogs.
Hoffies. Listen how many sponsors we should have.
Do you like hot dogs?
Do you like
Hoffi hot dogs?
There you go.
Hoffi hot dogs near me. I'm putting in Google.
There you go. So he's going to find the hot dogs. Hot dogs.
Armor hot dogs. Oh no,
I'm gonna have hot dogs tonight now. I am.
Well, no, but do you know the song, right?
Hot dogs. Armor hot dogs. What kind of kids love armor hot dogs?
Hot dogs.
Fat kids,
skinny kids that climb on rocks.
Tough kids, sissy kids.
Even kids with chicken pox.
So Hoffi hot dogs are made in Hollywood.
Yes. So
yeah,
that means they can't put them on a truck and drive them over
Purdue
to New
chicken
York.
comes from China. There you go.
They have them. Oh, Hoffi hot dogs near me on Merritt Island. Let's see.
There you go. Get some.
But you know the Oscar Mayer song, Craig? Do you?
Longhorn
My baloney has a first name. It's OSDAR. My baloney
has a second name.
MAYER.
Oh, I love to eat it every day.
And if you ask why I say, because Oscar Mayer has a way.
Okay. No Hoffi hot dogs near me.
Yeah, that definitely Hoffi-less. Yeah,
let's mail him some.
I can get them at a steakhouse.
Yeah, John's definitely got no Hoffi hot dogs.
Yeah,
definitely not. I get my hot dogs at the Handy Market, Buena Vista, and Magnolia. Yeah, definitely get my hot dogs.
Definitely like the snap when you eat them. Yeah,
snapper. Yeah, I like snapper. Eat snapper.
Okay, we should wrap this up, guys. We're about done.
Well, we didn't get to the insurrection. We didn't get to.
Is that my fault?
They got the little blue pill. You take the little blue pill, and you don't have to worry about insurrections no more.
All right, let's spend some time in the insurrection and then wrap it up.
Do you know on cruise ships they give you those? They give those all the old people Viagra.
Really?
Yeah, when you get really sunburned, you go down there and they give you Viagra.
Why?
It doesn't do anything for your sunburn, but it keeps the sheet off your legs.
Boom!
Come on.
Hey, can I get that over the counter? Yeah, if you take two. Ba-dum-bum.
That's a good joke.
I actually fell into
It's also when it gets rough, so you can't roll out of bed.
So were you guys shocked to hear that Lauren Boebert is a prostitute and has had a couple of abortions?
No, I'm just shocked to hear that she had sex at all.
You know what? It's funny because I saw an article 2 weeks ago that showed a picture of him with like a baby bump right before she decided she was going to run. And then she was running and there was no more baby bump. And I just thought it was like, typical trash.
Listen, I don't care. Listen,
maybe she wasn't wearing a girdle.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me if she was a sex. If she was a sex worker, who cares? I mean, listen, we all have to make a friggin' living. Matter of fact, I think to qualify now for a position in the GOP, you actually have to be a prostitute. But I don't care about it's the hypocrisy. It's like, the whole thing where they're fighting so hard against abortion. Meanwhile, they say Ted Cruz might have actually paid because maybe he would have baby daddy.
That I believe he has to pay.
Oh, come on! You think that can't be true? Who would?
I believe he had to pay.
Cruz?
Believe it.
You know who would, if you're hungry for power? How do you think fat, ugly, like Trump and all of them? How do you think they get laid by these young girls? They use their power, their money. They make promises. You know, it's no different than show business. Harvey Weinstein. You know, I'm not saying it's only to the Republicans, Democrat. You know, you name it, man. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, look at Matt Lauer. Look at Charlie Rose.
Yeah.
All these people who had a lot of power.
Listen, when I used to run around doing open mics many years ago, when I first moved out to LA, just so I can keep the stand up, you know, fresh and whatever. And I used to run around with this female comedian. I'm not going to mention her because she made it big after whatever. And she, we used to talk and hang out. And I asked her one time point blank, if, you know, some big producer offered you a part in a movie to sleep with them, would you do it? And she said, fuck yeah, wouldn't you? And I had to think about it. And I'm like, the truth is that I probably would. You know what I mean? It's like everyone has their pride. And then to come back years later and say, well, they took advantage. Yeah, they took it, but you agreed to, I don't know, it's a catch-22 kind of a deal, you know?
Yeah,
John and I are trying to figure out who you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
You might or might not recognize her. She did very well for herself, but she's not a household name. But she did very well for herself.
You can say it. We can bleep it out.
Nope, not gonna say it. Not gonna say it.
No, I would definitely not do that, because there's no guarantee that once you do the deed that you're going to get the part you want anyway. So,
no, that's true. There is no guarantees. What's that old Hollywood joke? You know, the girl comes out the office and she said, you know, yeah, and he said if I slept with him, he'd give me a part, and he lied. Fuck him. And the other girl goes, I did. He didn't give me a part either. You know?
I mean, that's, you know, it's, you know, people don't want to face it, but that's how Hollywood and stuff like that worked for many.
That's how the political world works. That's how Hollywood works. That's how corporate America probably worked forever. You know, it's just, this country is built on a lot of pigs.
And that's why it's so tough to change, man. It's
I don't think it's just country. I think it's worldwide.
Absolutely, it's worldwide.
People take advantage of who they are and whatever. You know what I mean? It's like,
you know, but the thing is, what I can't wrap my mind around is if I had all that power and to basically, you know, make somebody have sex with me, where's the fun? If they don't want me, there's no fun in it. At least that's how I see it.
I think actually it's more fun.
Really?
If you're Ted Cruz, the fact that you can have sex is just fun.
Oh, he doesn't have sex. Although I did hear a cool story about.
No, he's like an octopus. He just pulls off his penis and throws it at
I heard a story about Ted Cruz.
I have to fact check that next.
He was having sex. Ted Cruz was having sex with this woman, and he inserted himself. And she goes, "Oh." He goes, "Oh, you like that? Wait till I turn it on." So,
hey.
That's a Quindale joke, but I still love it. Anyway.
What was that? I saw on TikTok. This woman goes, my husband said, why did I marry him? I said, I married you because you're hilarious. He says, no, I thought you married because I'm great in bed. She goes, like I said, no, you're hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've established that basically, and it's most I'm sure it's almost all men, you know, because men have traditionally been in the positions of power, and men have abused their power for hundreds of years to take advantage of, you know, get the things they want, whether it's for sex or whether it's for, you know. But I mean, you do talk about even the Titans that built this country. You ever see that show, The Men Who Built America? And they talk about how these guys would just try to, you know, they did a campaign against electricity. What was it?
Tesla?
The Rockefellers, or who was the one who had propane or whatever the hell it was? They were lighting kerosene.
Hank Hill had the propane.
Yeah. But anyway, they did this whole huge campaign against the electricity, saying how dangerous it was. They electrified an elephant. They killed an elephant with electricity to show how dangerous and, you know, electricity is. Just, you know, to try to hold on to their kerosene money. I mean, whatever.
Well, you ever see there's a documentary called Who Killed the Electric Car? and it's a documentary that apparently some company distributed all these electric cars, all celebrities like Tom Hanks and all this stuff, and they were leased. And they loved these cars. They were sporty, they were fast, they were beautiful little cars. And at the end of 2 years, they said, I want to buy this car. And they said, I'm sorry, you can't. And they all got picked up and they all got crushed.
Wow.
Because the oil company bought out the electric car company.
I did hear about that.
Now, did you hear about this? This is to change the topic totally. But did you hear about this new cancer drug? They experimented like on it's like
on breast cancer. Yeah.
I know. I don't know. I think it was different kinds of cancer, but every single person who took this drug was cured. Their cancer was cured.
Yeah, I just saw it. Well, the reason I said breast cancer because I read an article that I guess this woman was cured of breast cancer by taking this. It replicates the cell that destroys the cancer cell.
Now you notice we're not hearing a whole lot about it. I mean, you know, because this is death to some of the big pharmacy companies. They make money off of cancer. They don't want to cure cancer. Matter of fact, there's 20 guys in the desert who cured cancer. They're buried out there. You know, it's like
they don't want to cure COVID. They don't want to cure cancer.
No, there's too much money in it. There's too much money in it.
I don't know.
And then, hey, I mean,
this fucked up.
Not to like change the subject. Did you guys see those videos of what's going on at Yellowstone Park?
Yeah,
the floods.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did you see that one with that brown building?
Yeah, that floated
washed away.
Yeah.
What's Yogi Bear gonna do?
I know.
Hey, boo boo, we gotta get out of here.
It's time to go camping again.
I know.
Full circle.
Next time I go camping in Alaska, I'm wearing a helmet, so I don't get killed by a salmon. Maybe that's it. We can have our show sponsored by salmon helmets.
We don't get it. Yeah, and then get a blade that spins around so it actually cuts the salmon up into pieces as it hits your head.
So it's filleted.
There you go.
Look at my background. Look at my background.
Really spent a lot on that, didn't you?
All right, I think that's a sign.
John surfing, man. He says
that's a sign.
I put us
in the box.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great weekend because this weekend is Father's Day. So honor your father. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week with the full cast of Crazy People with Mike Grief, Craig Yoda, Joe Silky,
he's not
Jan Karam, me, John Ferrantino. And you can catch us on the Big Bad Broadcast Facebook page. You can catch us on www.thebbb radio. And of course, it's all scrolling on the bottom for those of you that can't listen and can take notes.
Try Google.
For those of you
Bad Broadcast. Google.
So see you next week. Be good to your dad. It's Father's Day.
Fare thee well.
Actually, it's time for next week's show already.